Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of over there? Because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They look down on us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube and Twitter. But here, I actually care what you have to say. I think it's the opposite. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is amazing, then also please definitely let me know. But either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I think it can turn into something truly, truly special. I want us to build something that we all really genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. And I think we're already well on our way to doing it. So please do consider subscribing. I honestly see this channel just as much as mine as it is yours. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, where they do their kind of a whole upset alert. And so they're going to be talking about, of course, the picks for the playoffs. And so, yeah, let's just hear what they have to say. No more talking. Let's do it.
Is there, or I should say a respect and a healthy fear. Like, Mahomes, Reed, that defense, like, I got the Ravens, but, you respect what the Chiefs have done and that they're dangerous. But fear them, like in the past, they would have to go out and really put 30 to 40 points.
40 points in the polar vortex?
30 to 40. I would have to see the air game. Because if they win just the defense holds down Miami, Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, run the ball, Mahomes makes a few plays, and it's 24 to 14 or something, that's not going to make me think they're back. I need to kind of see something to make me think, the receivers are catching the ball. Mahomes, they're getting downfield. Something to make me think the old Kansas City offense is there.
Yeah, well, what would make me think that they
So
were scary again is that
I completely agree with that statement. I think the question kind of got cut off a little bit, but you can see there it says, can the Chiefs prove they're scary? So I think the weather is difficult because when it is that freezing, if you talk to any ex-player, especially players that played in the cold from Green Bay and stuff like that, they talk about it genuinely affecting the game. And you can take the approach where you're just like, no excuses. And it's like, again, that's just nonsense. And again, talk to any actual real professional athlete who understands and is not going to give you just random, nonsense to just be cool and then actually admit, yeah, it's freezing and yeah, it affects things and it's, and it's different. So I think that alone already stops the ability of maybe the Chiefs really being able to show that, like, we're back, let's go, no one can stop us. But I think we also have to put in perspective that, as I've said now all season, that Miami has not really beat anyone really worth beating. And I don't want to beat that dead horse because there's really those two teams that I keep pointing out with regards to that, and that's the Cowboys and the Dolphins. But to stick with the Dolphins, if we say that the Dolphins, put it this way, someone like Nick Wright will say that the Bills are not that good, that they're so inconsistent, and that they, win, kind of in spite of Josh Allen, right? And he beat them. So if he's not that good, and the Bills are not that good, that they kind of just were able to string along a few games together and they were able to get themselves into the playoffs, and if they beat the Dolphins, then why would a win? It's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would the Chiefs then beating them be something so special? Especially when they've also talked about in the last couple of days, they know it's going to be freezing. They know Miami and Tua won't necessarily do well in that freezing cold. Like Tua, where he was born and raised, and then playing in Alabama, and then now playing in Miami. Like, that stuff does matter. If you're exposed to the cold regularly, then that can for sure help. I mean, it can. But when you're living in Miami, it's different. I don't know if any of you guys have lived, depending on where you're watching this video, where you live. I've lived on both coasts. So I've lived in Philly, and I've lived in, San Diego, California, Los Angeles, that area. And it really, really, really matters. when I was born, I'm born and raised in the Philadelphia area, and the cold was like, I never got cold. Seriously, it was like nothing to me. I mean, and I don't even like own a jacket. I still don't own a jacket because I'm back on the East Coast now, and I don't need a jacket. Okay, I mean, and I actually kind of enjoy the cold mostly. Then I moved to California, and within a month, a few weeks, most people don't realize that at nighttime, California gets kind of cold, relatively speaking. It can drop down to like 60 degrees. And I was like shivering. I remember I was on a date and I was outside like my apartment complex in this like kind of like park type area. And I was like talking and I was like trying to like, flirt, run game, be me. And I'm like kind of like shivering and I'm like, what's going on right now? I'm like, how cold is it? I check my phone and I see it's like 64 degrees out. And I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. And it's your blood thins. Like, it's just a different experience. And then when I would visit back east in the winter time, it would be like noticeably freezing. And then I had the feeling of like, oh my God, I'm getting like softer. Like my East Coast mentality, I'm losing it. Like I don't like this feeling. And so that really does matter. It's just more of a jarring experience is really what it is. So if you're used to it and you're experiencing it regularly, it's not as big of a deal, but it's just a more jarring thing. So I think that alone, even if the Chiefs, go up, win 21-6 or something, like you're going to be like, okay, they won and that was great, but everyone said that Miami was going to struggle in the first place. You know what I mean? And so if they win 42-0, well, then I just think that would probably say more about the Dolphins than it would the Chiefs, right? Like any blowout win, really, for the Chiefs, ultimately is what I think I'm trying to say, is that would be more about the Dolphins than the Chiefs. I just don't know because like Brew just said, oh, if the receivers show that they're catching the ball. Well, it's not like they drop the ball every single time it's thrown to them. They obviously are good enough to make it to the playoffs, and so they're still competent enough to play football. So I just think that there's just nothing the Dolphins can do, or nothing that the Chiefs can really realistically do that'll make you feel confident or to prove that they're scary.
Ends up being a shootout, and they can match Miami point for point. If the receivers can consistently not only catch the ball, but also create some offensive excitement and some production that we really haven't seen throughout the course of the year. It can't just be a function of where's Travis Kelce, throw the ball to Travis Kelce scores. Like that, that's been the formula, and to this point, really Patrick's been okay at best, but to see the Patrick that we've been so used to and anywhere close to that level of play, starting here in the playoffs, instantly they become one of the most dangerous, if not the most dangerous team in the playoffs.
So they're going to get that version of Mahomes in round two because that's what they're going to need. The round two against Buffalo in the first career road playoff game in an insane environment is going to be a Mahomes over my dead body game. That's the way they win that game. I bet there is something you didn't say, Brew, that could happen in this game to make them scary. Because here's the thing about the Chiefs in a shootout. The only shootout the Chiefs have played in 2 years is the Super Bowl. The Chiefs have only allowed 30 points in one game the last 34 times they've played, the Super Bowl. So the Chiefs getting in shootouts hasn't happened since Tyreek.
Against the Eagles, who everyone wants to try to tell me that Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback because he's not having a great year and obviously a disastrous coaching year, and he's also not healthy. And yet the Chiefs are this dynasty, and yet the Eagles did what the Eagles did, and Jalen Hurts was elite that game. I just have to add that because I've been doing more Cowboys takes, and I've been getting pummeled by Cowboys fans telling me that I'm a moron, and it's like I'm giving my honest, outlook on the Cowboys. I'm not saying that they're trash or that they're garbage or that Dak is garbage. Like I gave Dak props. I gave the Cowboys props. But, it's just funny whenever they try to debate you and then they want to just try to cut someone else on. I had to just add that in right now. Sorry.
Freak was there. Last year they scored a ton, but the shootouts weren't happening because the defense was good. This year they're not scoring a ton and the defense is great. But here's what I think would happen that would make the Chiefs scary. Because in the conditions and given the state of this offense, I don't think they're going to score 30 plus. If in this game they have 0 drops and 1 awesome MVS catch.
That would be good.
I think that because drops do feel a little yipsish in that they come in bunches, they're mental, and because we're now talking about such small samples, like the numbers we're talking about, like, wow, the Chiefs wide receivers lead, it's the most drops in 10 years, 28 on the year. It's like, well, so we're talking about 1.5 a game is what the numbers are. And so, and they've been devastating, by the way. I'm not acting like they're not. But my point is that.
So if it's 1.5 a game, and you have one game where you don't have any drops, that's the amount of drops it's too little. Where it obviously adds up over time, but if you have one game where you don't have any drops, that's not like we're it's bam, we're back now. We're not gonna have any other drops. Now, if they were averaging 10 drops a game, right, which obviously would be insane, but just follow my example. If they were averaging 10 drops a game, and then now they played a game where they had no drops, that would be different. That would be like, whoa, they just, now they went from this many drops to this many drops, But if you do it where it's like they went from this many drops to this many drops, right? Like it's very little. So that doesn't make you now feel that like now they're scary. Like I can't follow that logic. I really don't.
In the big moments, all that stuff. But that also means it's just a couple things that need to not happen for you to feel like, oh, maybe we're okay now. So I think if the Chiefs had a game.
Which is okay, but we've been waiting for those couple things to not happen
right.
over and over again. Yeah. And as much as we say, but the next week against Buffalo, that's when it's going to happen.
No, I agree with you, which is why I'm saying if that happens this week, it makes them scary. I'm not saying it's happening this week. I'm saying if this week they were to have no drops and MVS makes one big play like he did in the playoffs last year, the game-winning touchdown pass in the AFC title game, or touchdown catch, I think it makes them scary.
Sorry. I just think one game is one game. It's just one game. And again, by his own account, he said that the Dolphins aren't that good, and Brew makes fun of them and says that they're break dancers and all of this. So, you got to be consistent. If you don't think that the Dolphins are that great of a team, right? That they got by with like their schedule and and things like that, then and you also admitted that their defense is depleted, that they literally had to pick up players that are like like in their 30s, which is old. I mean, that's old for the NFL, and players that off the practice squad because they've had a bunch of key injuries. That matters. So it's just that's why you can't just look at the box score. That's why you can't just look even at the game at the surface level and be like, oh wow, that was a nice catch. Like you have to actually really understand who this team is in any game, who the two teams are, who are they playing. Do they have a good defense? Do they have a good offense? This, that, that's why we talk about like matchups and stuff. And so, I just think there's just absolutely, positively nothing that the Chiefs can do. I just want to really plant that. The Chiefs can't do anything to impress us. The only team that can impress us is Miami Dolphins. If Miami Dolphins step up and win this game, when everyone says, one, they can't because the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. That's number one. And their defense is really good, right? So the Chiefs' defense has been good this season. It's their offense that hasn't been good. So if Miami Dolphins put up like 28 points or something and win the game 28-10 or something, right? Then you would be like, whoa, is Tua him? Tyreek locked in? Like you guys said that they can't play in the cold. That's not true, right? Like that would be more like, whoa, this is interesting. You said Tua can't throw? Like that guy was throwing bullets, against a good top-ranked defense. That would impress you. That would be like, whoa, and on the road. The Chiefs are at home. It's freezing cold. They're used to this environment, right? I mean, they have the vets. They have Andy Reid. The resumes are so much longer and more experienced than anyone on Miami. And it's just so, I think it's just nonsense. It's just more nonsense hype machine from the media and especially, of course, Nick Wright. But even Broussard was kind of entertaining it a little bit. And like I said, even if they won 42-0, that says way more about Miami than it says about the Chiefs, without a doubt. But what do you all think? Would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this one. It's the playoffs. I'm so excited. So please, let's get into lots of discussions. Let me know how you feel. Do you think what I'm saying is great or awful? Please definitely let me know. And please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I truly see this channel just as much as mine as it is yours, and I would love to see you part of it. And please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.